Hi, hello, this is your good buddy Nick Prill of Mint English, and I'm back. Yes, it's another session for or into the dynamic world of English grammar. Why dynamic? Because actually in English, ladies and gentlemen, we have so many ways to say the same thing. If only we know the rules of grammar and we have a wide vocabulary, we could actually say one thing in so many ways. Example, I am tired. I could say, I'm exhausted. Or I could say, I'm bushed, and so forth. That's the beauty in English. I mean, one of the beauties. We could say one thing in many ways, but we have to practice. We have to remember meanings of words. We have to increase our vocabulary. And whether you want it or not, we also need common sense in English. Common sense dictates that we should say things the simpler way. Ways which are easier said and easier understood. Alright? Today we're going to continue with our chat or talk all about tenses. Particularly the past perfect progressive tense in English grammar. The past perfect progressive tense in English grammar, ladies and gentlemen, forgive me, I got this thing stuck in my throat today, but don't worry about that. Anyway, the past perfect progressive tense in English grammar is actually used to express an action that was ongoing at some time in the past, when another action interrupted that action which was ongoing. It actually focuses more on the duration and ongoing nature of an action or an activity in the past. And again, most important of all, please remember that it is used to express or to focus on an action that had been happening or that was happening in the past when another action took place or interrupted the first action. We also have a pattern to remember. We use had plus been plus the main verb with ing. Had plus been plus the main verb plus ing. Again, before you forget, the past perfect progressive tense is used to express two actions in the past. One was ongoing, one was happening when another action occurred or interrupted the first action. Examples. I had been talking with John for an hour when Anna entered the classroom. I had been talking with John for 1 hour. 1 hour. When Anna entered the classroom. We have two actions there. Talking with John is the first action. What's the second action? Anna entered the room. So I had been talking to John for an hour when Anna entered the room. That means for a span of 1 hour, I was talking to John. Sometime in the past, I was talking to John. And while I was talking to John, at that time, Anna entered the room. The action of Anna entering the room interrupted the first action, which was happening, which was ongoing sometime in the past. Another example, I had been working. Again, I had been working for 3 hours when you arrived. See? That means for 3 hours I had been working. Maybe I was working on my carpentry project and I was hammering all over. I was doing that for 3 hours. 3 straight hours. I had been working for 3 hours when you arrived. The second action, you arrived. And it interrupted the first action, or it took place while the first action was happening or was ongoing. We had been playing basketball when I sprained my ankle. So, two actions. Playing basketball, right? You dribble the ball, pass the ball, get the ball back, and you do your jump shot or something. So, anyway, we had been playing basketball when I sprained my ankle. So the second action, sprained my ankle. Alright? So again, remember, two actions. One was ongoing, one was happening when another action occurred or interrupted the first one. We could use connectors like when or while. A while back I said, we had been playing basketball maybe for 2 hours. We had been playing basketball for 2 hours when I sprained my ankle. Now I would like to use while. I could do that. While we were playing basketball, I sprained my ankle. You notice something? I dropped the helping verb had, because it's an easier way of saying it. Honestly speaking, technically speaking, strict grammar speaking, it is no longer strictly past perfect progressive because I dropped the helping verb had. Again, I'll say that last sentence. While we were playing basketball, I sprained my ankle. I'll give you another example. While I was sleeping, the telephone rang. It actually, or those sentences actually support the purpose or the use of the past progressive or past perfect progressive tense. However, structurally speaking, I dropped had. Instead of saying, I had been sleeping when the telephone rang, I simply said, while I was sleeping, the telephone rang. Strictly speaking, it is no longer, strictly speaking, it is no longer in the past perfect progressive. Why? Because we dropped had. But the purpose and the usage is the same. Expressing two actions in the past. One was ongoing, one was happening when another action occurred. Why am I sharing this to you? Because when we write down our sentences, or when we make use of formal English, we have to stick to the norms of grammar, the rules of grammar, which dictates that we make use of everything that is strictly written in the book. We had been playing basketball for 2 hours. I had been sleeping for 30 minutes when the phone rang, or when the telephone rang. Had is there. Now, for everyday conversational English, we could actually drop had and simply use both past forms of the verbs. While I was sleeping, the telephone rang. See? The purpose is the same. The meanings did not change. They were the same. However, let me stress, when writing down your sentences in formal writing, and in very careful spoken English or formal spoken English, we make use of the rules in grammar in toto, or as they are stated in the books. I had been sleeping for 30 minutes when the telephone rang. On the other hand, on everyday conversational English, casual speaking, we could drop had and change the form of the verbs to the simple past forms. I was sleeping when the phone rang. You got it? Please remember, when you may and when you may not use the easy way of saying it, the casual way of saying it. Remember again, in written English and in formal English, make sure you follow the norms or the rules or the guidelines right. In casual spoken English, however, go for what is easier said and what is easier understood, provided that you are still grammatically right and provided that it is more practical for you. That's all for today, folks. Please don't forget to practice. I said this before for more than a couple of times, and I'm going to say it again. The more we practice, the better we get. Have a nice day.